What's up, boys? It's Gaz, and how you doing? Welcome back to another Warframe video. So today we are going to be going over something that I've been having a lot of fun with recently, which is the Rabvee Hammer Zaw, and we're actually using it with Exodia Hunt, the arcane that comes from Hakon Cetus, and it's actually going to make it on slam attacks. You are going to vortex all the enemies into basically in on your person. So, that actually does, you would think it would just work with, a jumping ground slam like this, but it actually works with the ground slams built into the hammer stances for the Crushing Ruin stance. So, right there, you spin forward 3 times and you slam, and that slam can actually vortex in all the enemies. The away backing or blocking combo, that slam can vortex in enemies. When you vortex the enemies in, they actually are vulnerable to finishers. They're CC'd, so they're not going to be fighting you while they're CC'd in, so it's really, really fun. And this thing actually got its Rivens buffed recently. Not a huge buff, but a buff nonetheless. So with the attack speed of Riven, you can spam this thing through hallways. The parts we're going for the maximum crit, maximum speed version. So we've got Vargeet 2 Jai as our link, which will get us a 32% crit chance, which is enough to get red crits at a 12x combo multiplier with Blood Rush. And then we've got only 10% status chance, which is whatever, honestly. The way I'm looking at it, we're going to be proccing status with our new core for really high levels, and at normal levels we'll just be one-shotting with our really high crit chance. And then we've got 390 base damage, with the highest being impact and the second highest being slash. So yeah, you could technically make a heavy attack build for this, but I'm not going to go for that. And yeah, the reason I wanted to build this thing is I want the Kuva Shieldeg's Rivens got nerfed, and as you see right here, it's a little bit faster than the Kuva Shieldeg. It's got a much worse critical multiplier. It's got 1 more crit chance, but it has a couple other things that are pretty decent. You're not actually seeing the Kuva Shieldeg's bonus of 60% electric on here, so it actually has a lot more base damage. So with no mods, we have 524 base damage on the Kuva Shieldeg, but on the Mandatory Happiness, we actually have only 390. So it's a bit of a reduction in damage, but then again, like I said, we get this Exodia Hunt arcane. I'm going to show it in survival and stuff. Here's the no Riven build. If you don't want to run a bunch of attack speed like I am, you're not going to be able to spam the vortexes as much. My Riven I normally run is 74.6% attack speed, 262.2 melee damage, and minus finisher damage. So I usually put that right there. It's pretty much like a second Berserker mod, because Berserker gives you 75 at max. But yeah, the build that I'm running is Corrosive and Crit. We've also got Conditioned Overload for when we are using our Viral Nucor, our Magnetic Nucor rather, with Viral and Heat modded on there as well. Let's just get additional melee damage for every stats effect on the enemy. It gets crazy, guys. It really does get crazy. And we're going for the 90% Elemental Shocking Touch, and the primed version of Fever Strike to give us corrosive damage here. You've got Prime Reach to give us 6 meters of range, and then we've got Blood Rush and Organ Share for more crit stuff going on. Also, we're using the Crushing Ruin stance. The main combos we're utilizing here are Shattered Village, and sometimes we're using the away one, which I don't remember what that one's called, but Winding Temper, I guess. But yeah, let's quickly show. I'm going to show the no Riven build, and then we're going to throw on the Riven. This thing is really fun, and the reason I run Corrosive instead of Viral is because I'm proccing Viral with my new core, which is going to be really good for Conditioned Overload. Oh, by the way, Exo Goose Strike Officers, level 175. These enemies don't actually exist in normal missions. They're just basically punching bags for while we're in the Simulacrum. So let's stack up our combo first, just to show how this is supposed to be displayed. Keep in mind, this is no Riven, and as you see, they got Vortex in as I'm slamming the ground. Alright, so they got knocked around there. One hit right there, one-shot them. This is with no Riven, of course. Okay. Now, when we're fighting really, really high-level enemies, I have actually noticed this thing falls off a little bit. But it's not like it doesn't kill. It's when I say fall off, I mean it doesn't one-shot them with no Conditioner Overload stats. It will still kill them. After you proc them, you will one-shot them. So keep that in mind. As you see right here, this Vortex, it's a 50% chance to Vortex the enemies in. So with all that attack speed, you can attack much faster, obviously, and get those Vortexes going quicker. So let's just utilize that right there. See, they all get souped in. I could technically do a finisher on them, but I have minus finisher on my riven, so it's not exactly what I'm looking to do. Keep in mind, hammers have very high finisher damage. So if you want to go like with a hammer finisher setup with Exodia Hunt and this hammer, it would not be the worst thing in the world. It actually might be kind of cool. So keep that one in mind. But this is what I've been using. I've used it in a like a 2.5 hour survival almost, and it was doing pretty good. So if you want to get so here, this is the combination of parts you need to use to get red crits. If you don't care about red crits, like I don't know, some kind of monster, and you want actually stance procs, you can go with some other parts, but I felt like I wanted to get some red crits. So let's show them some quick gameplay of it in a high-ish level survival. So that's going to be this one right here. So here we are. This is with my riven, so I'm attacking faster. I also have a 262 additional melee damage, so keep that in mind. We're also running Saren with her 3. So go in there, nuke, just hit them all, and like see, it's kind of hard to tell what's going on because it's attacking so fast. Because we also had a wisp in here, but it's basically just like you're a moving vortex of death. And you can, in Kuva Survival, you can cover like the entire hallway with this hammer, and the vortex is going to follow you. It's like a sticky vortex, pretty much. Like you proc the Exodia Hunt, the vortex effect goes off, and like for like a second or two, it will still suck in enemies that get close to you. So it's really, really nice. It's good CC. Like the enemies will be stunned as you are flying around, and they get closer to you too, so you can hit them with melee, as you're seeing right here. I got stuck in a barrel. And yeah, this is like with no status pretty much. The status is coming from our secondary, which I do recommend if you're doing like really high level survivals. Of course, ideally you'd have status and crit, but with Zaws you have to pretty much pick one or the other. There are hybrid potential Zaws, but like I said, you don't get red crits with the other parts. You need that 32% base from Vargitu Jai. So let's quickly show in the simulacrum with my riven. I'd say some god roll stats for a riven. I do really feel like it's really fun to have attack speed. So on my god roll riven, it would be attack speed, range, critical damage, because we don't really need crit chance since we are going to be hitting red crits with just our parts that we have right here with the 32% innate. So that'd be attack speed, range, critical damage, and then minus infested, minus finisher. You might not want to do minus finisher because, like I said, the enemies are open to finishers when you use Exodia Hunt. So maybe minus slide crit would that would most likely be the best one for this specific Zaw. You can also, if you have three positive stats and one negative stat on your Rabvee riven, you can actually get minus 100% impact damage. That would make it so you would only be proccing your elemental, slash, and then sometimes puncture. Although those stances do have built-in impact procs on some of the combos, so just keep that in mind. So that could potentially be something. We are going to have another video in the future about a minus 100% impact hammer riven, but that is a bit of a spoiler for an upcoming video, so we will get to that eventually. Oh, by the way, the reason I'm using this on Wukong is that I found a really fun combination with Wukong is you get the clone with the new core, then you use the hammer to sweep them all in. The Wukong clone will actually, since they're all like sucked into one area, you can actually get the condition overload procs from your new core clone really easily. Not exactly something you need to do, but I thought it was like a fun little synergy. And we do the Kuva Flood gameplay in a second here. I will show with Wukong. Of course, in any normal level mission, this is mega overkill. Like the enemies will die from one hit, even with like half the mods on here. So yeah, it's really fun. I've been really enjoying it. And as you can tell, since I'm making this video before the Karst Prime or the Panthera Prime or even Anaros Prime, I do find it really, really fun, and I do highly recommend it. So, like I said, if you don't care about red crits, you can go for some other parts. Some parts that are like pretty similar. Let's take a quick look at. By the way, the website I use to build Zaws is called semlar.com. It's a great tool for building Zaws, building kit guns, etc., etc. So if you want a more status-oriented one, you could go for... basically, by the way, I think speed is one of the most important things on this, so you could go for... a hybrid setup would be... Vargit Jai 2 could be okay, I suppose. Pretty much, like, just build the one I showed you. the grip, I do consider the speedy grip most important, because like I said, the more attacks you get off, the more vortexes you can release, and that's basically the idea of the build. So let's see what we got here. Okay, so Vargeet 2 Jai is the one we have for 32% crit chance with 10% status. You could go for Vargeet Jai normal could give you 25 and 14, which I don't know if I'd really want to go for that, but you might like it. Vargeet Jai 2 is 25-14 with a 1.1 attack speed. That's potentially going to be pretty good, but it's only a little bit more status chance, and like I said, this thing is really impact weighted, so it's really you looking to proc impact, because there you go, get some more status chance on this baby. You'll be procking impact like no other. But then again, if you have a minus 100% impact riven, you could be procking a lot of slash at the same time. So really gonna be up to you and whatever riven you have. Like I said, these rivens got buffed recently, and this thing has been pretty good for a while. I just never really gave it a full chance. But yeah, after that Kuva Shield Egg gigantic riven nerf, I started looking at some other options. So I actually got 2 hammers that I've been using recently. There will be another video on the other hammer in the near future, but this one does less damage than the other one, which is the Archititron. But this thing, I find this more fun. And like I said, in that long survival, when we were fighting like level 1,000 enemies, or I think it was almost level 1,000 before we left, because I didn't want to get trade banned. Thanks, D. Thanks for those trade bans. Like the enemies weren't dying in one hit. But another nice thing about this Shattered Village combo is that actually the level you're swinging at the hammer at, it gets lots of headshots. And if you didn't know this, melees in this game can headshot, and they have a headshot multiplier. So pretty good stuff there. And yeah, it's just like a nice reliable weapon. It's, like I said, it's slightly slower and a little bit weaker if you don't have attack speed and like crit damage, riven or something like that. But it's still totally fine. Like, I probably would have taken this weapon to that survival without a riven. Or maybe I wouldn't, because I run rivens on everything pretty much. But if it wasn't me, and I was like wanting to do the Vortex suck hammer, maybe I would run it without a riven, just because I'm like, Prime Fury is enough, 50% versus like 76% of my riven. So, it's up to you. Whatever you got, you got. Yeah, so hopefully you guys have been enjoying the Naruto Prime Access. I do find the weapons both to be pretty good. The Panthera Prime is not really like my cup of tea. I think it has a crit chance problem. But the Karst Prime, on the other hand, oh boy. Oh boy, that thing is insane. There will be a video on that in the next couple of days. It's really, really good. So if you don't have a ribbon for that yet, I've seen the cheapest unrolled one for 150. I've sold 1 or 2 of them at this point for over 800 each. They're expensive. And by the way, the ribbons are not bugged. People are like, oh, did you see that the ribbons for the Karst and the Panther are bugged, and they have higher stats than they're supposed to? Well, quit calling it a bug, please, because DE actually mentioned in the when they ended up changing, it was the last Prime Access with Corinth Prime and Pangolin Prime. They said when new Prime weapons come out, they will have neutral disposition unless the previous version of that weapon had higher or lower than neutral disposition. So, for example, if we ever get Guandao Prime, that will have 3 dots, aka neutral disposition 1.0. It's behind the scenes multiplier. There's a display error with the Panthera and the Karst Prime right now where it shows 1 dot. So like really low disposition. But that's because I think not even DE knows their own systems and they don't keep track of what they said. So the actual stats for the Karst Prime are neutral 1.0 disposition, but the display in the arsenal shows 1 dot, like it would be 0.5. So just keep that in mind. Going forward, new weapons like, so example, the Stalta, the Stropha, the Velox, those kind of weapons like are released in like normal updates will have 0.5 disposition off the bat. Really low stats on ribbons. But any Prime Access will have neutral disposition to start off with. That's because, they're selling them for money. I'm just kidding. No, that probably is why they're doing it. So keep that in mind. It's not a bug, it's just how it is. DE doesn't know how to keep track of their own stuff. Thankfully the community knows how to at this point, so. Yeah, that's enough ranting about rivens. I mean, there's been plenty more where that came from. There might be a riven, mega, apocalyptic complaining video coming out soon. Because WoW riven mods have no RNG control ever, and they're complete BS. So we'll see if I can muster up enough lack of brain cells to make that one. I was actually going to put some comparisons to other games in there, because we don't get... D, throw us a bone at this point. The freaking Riven system has been in here for, like, I don't know, like 2-3 years probably, at least, maybe even more than 5 years, 4 or 5 years, and they've never improved it. They've only given us more Kuvas, so... yeah, either way, I'll talk to you guys next time. Hope you found this video helpful. It's a really fun setup. Exodia Hunt comes from Hawk and Cetus, like I said. And yeah, Exodia Hunt's just good on most Zaws, to be honest, so... I'll talk to you guys next time. Peace.